My name is Ludwig Armbruster, and in this video series we're going to talk about the FuzzyLookUp transform in SSIS 2008. Now, the FuzzyLookUp transform is mostly used in conjunction with dirty data. So what I mean by that is sometimes you have input data which don't provide a key, or they might have been truncated, or they just misspelled names, city names, person names, street addresses, these kind of examples. And I prepared a scenario here for that series, which is going to show you how that all fits together and what the goal is of that project to clean up the data. So basically we have an Excel spreadsheet as an example here, which has the dirty data, X's, and as you can see up here, null values and misspellings and stuff like that. And then we just have an SSIS package with a fuzzy transform as a heart piece, basically, which is going to help us to clean the data. And you see in the upper right corner here, there's also an reporting services, an SSIS report. That's basically just a process monitor, which will display us nicely in a chart how the process was done, how many record actually were matched with the fuzzy lookup, and how many were not matched. And the result of that match process depends on the similarity threshold, which we're going to talk soon about. And then on the down right corner here, we see the clean data. Now let me just provide a couple of information here how the fuzzy lookup works. So we have an incoming record and we have a reference table, so reference records. And the fuzzy lookup basically provides two numbers or two indexes, similarities and confidence index. And the similarity index is based on a relatively simple comparison between the two records column by column, right? So for the similarity between this one incoming record with Maurice Bauer in Denver, Colorado, with Maurice and with the double R's, compares to the record 1421 with the ID 1421, 0.89, so that's an 89% similarity, right? And the other record 4212 with Maurice Bauer, Denver, Colorado, please note that there is just one R in the first name, has a 98% similarity. So 4212 is its similarity is higher than the similarity of the record 1421. Now please also note there is a confidence value, and the confidence value just expresses basically how confident the fuzzy lookup is with that match or assignment, right? So the thing here is that based on that comparison here, and also depending on the threshold, which I'm gonna explain in just a second what that is, the process probably would assign this incoming record to 4212, but it depends on the threshold, and it also might not be correct. So that is something a little bit confusing, but as we go through that series, I want to make sure that all comes across. Here's some facts about the fuzzy lookup. So we have the threshold, and that is basically a value you provide, and the fuzzy lookup is going to use that as basically as a quality line. If you want the similarity threshold between an incoming record and a reference record to be 80% or higher, then only those records will be matched which fulfill that condition. If there is a 78% similarity, this record will not be matched. So basically it is a flexible or dynamic way to determine the matched and non-matched records. Now the issue here is if you set it too high, the similarity threshold, you might have no matches at all, and that requires for more manual work, right? which you actually want to avoid with building a package for that purpose. Now if you set it too low, the similarity threshold, then you might end up assigning incoming records to wrong reference records, and that is a problem too. It might be even the bigger problem. So that depends on your specific situation, and we probably need to run it a couple times and see how different similarity thresholds are going to impact your result. One important thing is that you should never use a fuzzy lookup without a regular lookup first. And it's just very simple. The regular lookup will help to reduce the amount of work the fuzzy lookup has to do, since all the direct lookups, or the direct matches, I'm sorry, they will already be filtered out, right? And then only the incoming records which couldn't be directly joined in the regular lookup, they will go to the path to the fuzzy lookup and can be treated there. And please keep in mind that the fuzzy lookup is only available in the Enterprise Edition. Alright, let's go through the tabs here real quick in the fuzzy lookup. So I have a connection manager, and then I provide either a table or a view. In our example here, it's going to be a view. And there is one interesting, it's actually an important setting, especially if you use the same lookup several times within one package. Then I would recommend to activate the store new index, since that does not drop the table every time the package runs, right? So the main advantage is that this index table doesn't need to be created every time a fuzzy lookup is used within that package. Now my package later on in that example will only have one lookup, but you might have situations where you have more, and then there is some optimization work possible in that field here. Columns looks exact the same as in the regular or normal lookup, so you just tell the component which columns you would like the fuzzy lookup to be included in that match. So in that case we have 6 columns. Please note that the fuzzy lookup only works with text columns, so we cannot join or link numeric columns here. And then as I mentioned before, the similarity threshold, very, very important. Here in that example it's set to 0.47, and we will see later on when we set it to 80% or 0.8 or 0.2 how does that impact the matching process. And in the upper right corner we see also a parameter currently set to 1. Basically just that is just the number of rows returned. So if you set that to 2 or 3 or 4 or higher number than 1, just keep in mind that then the amount of output columns most likely will be higher than the amount of columns from your input, from your raw source, right? Since an incoming record can, if that number is higher than 1, can then have 2 or 3 matches. Is an interesting option too, and we will see that later on how to use that. There is a token delimiters, so if your input data do have some tokens, you can tell the lookup transform that here, or you can enter additional delimiters in that text box down there. The point is here that if we tell the lookup that there is a question mark all over the place, or a tab or a space, then it's usually easier for the lookup to come up with a more suitable match. That's why we have the chance to do that here. You might have heard about the soundX function. Just real quick, there's a lot of disadvantages to the soundX function. It is a good tool for certain circumstances, and that website I provided here will provide further information to that. And it's sort of tied to that subject, so that's why I wanted to include that. And then further information can be found on that other link. And now let's have some practice.